I think that was one of the biggest problems in this class has been me engaging with other students. I think other than engaging with a few replies on some of the forums, I don't think I have really reached out to people. And I think I talked about this in one of my earlier videos that I have a problem reaching out and communicating, and Google Video Chat have been helping me out a lot more in my class in that aspect. But in reality, just some of the people in this class I've never heard of or never heard from or probably never will hear from. And I think that's one of the biggest issues with the online class, but that happens also in my regular classes. My economics 101 class, for example, that I do for my minor, that I had I'm sitting in a class with mostly freshmen, and there's 60 of them in the class, and I know one other person, and I only know that other person because they help me with the dates and remind me of when things are due. And so I think that's just maybe more just a personal issue that I haven't reflected on enough than so much this class being fully online, because I think the abilities are there. Their names are there on iLearn. I could send them a quick email, but I think me not wanting to or me not having to has made me so I have not engaged with many of the other students in my class. My major is international relations, and that being said, I think most of the technology that relates with international relations has to do with gathering data and sourcing data and understanding what to do with all these sources and data. And I think one of the big things that this class has helped me with is in improving the organizational skills I have in my notes and in within my projects and works, and having things in folders on the cloud. I think that's really helped me gather in all the different aspects that I need to be successful in international relations. This year, I learned a new program called Atlas TI that I spoke in some of my papers throughout the classes. And what that program is that it is a massive data handling workhorse. I mean, you throw data in there, and what it does is it helps you go in there and highlight and take notes on what you have in your sources, and then organize these notes into branches and networks that then work together and help you write papers. Because at the end of the day, in international relations, most of what you're doing is analyzing things that already happened, because it's very hard to predict things that are very happening. And there's many schools in international relations that say that is even impossible to predict what's going to happen in the future. But we can analyze what has happened and how that might affect current predicaments, and using technology has made that just all the easier. The three big ones have been Atlas TI that helped me organize my data. The second one is EndNotes, which lets you compile all your sources and have them all beautifully wrapped into your papers, and you just collect them all into a big library, and you have different libraries for different papers, and you can just make some great bibliographies, and you can have some great sources, and you know where everything is, and you know everything's sourced right, because you're downloading the citations from Google Scholar very simply, and it just uploads to EndNote, and you just put it into your paper. And it has changed how I source things and how I look for information so much, and incredible papers have gotten better because of it. And I think the last thing is EBSCOhost, which is a service that is provided by our school to the J. Paul Leonard Library. That what they do is they have all these sources and all these online databases that have articles, and they have news clippings, and they have first person sources, second person sources, and they have articles that are in journals that are very extremely expensive to access if you don't have these school codes. And it's incredible thinking that just some sources, right, like having I think a license for EBSCOhost is in the thousands of dollars per year or something like that, and we get it for free just by going to the university. And that technology allows us to gather so many sources and gather so much more information that would have been just impossible to comprehend before the internet. I mean, even my professors say that you would have to go to the library, you have to grab the encyclopedias and just start reading, start looking, and now you just put in some keywords and some keynotes and some date frames, and you can pretty much find whatever you want. And you can pretty much find someone who said something similar to what you're thinking, which is not very good for writing, but it's good for analyzing in the sense that you have sources to back up what you said, and you can tell that you maybe not the only one who thinks a certain way. And for international relations, that is a very important idea in having other people that support your ideas in the international system. For my specific technology, I want to talk about video and how it's a great tool just to spread your information around, because it is very simple to watch video. You put it on, you listen, you look, you comprehend. Very, very easy process. As long as I'm not completely boring, which I know I have been a little bit, it's pretty easy to stay focused and pretty easy to understand what I'm saying. There's very little need for analyzing the tone and stuff, because you can see my face and you can see how I express it. And if I say something angry, you can tell that I'm angry, and if I say something happy, you can tell that I'm happy. And it's not hard to make videos. I think the hardest thing for people to use is video editing software, and I learned on some very complicated programs. I learned first on Final Cut Pro, and then I had quite a stint with Adobe Premiere, and these are heavy duty, real video editing softwares. You can do anything with them. You can make the videos do anything, and especially with Premiere and how it's synced with the rest of the Adobe suite, you could do some crazy, ridiculous things, and it took forever. Like, you would sit there and you would edit a 4-minute video for like hours, and nothing would get done, and it just took forever because there were so many options, so many things you can do, and you can edit things, and like you kind of get into your video and you want to make the best you can. But for these videos, I took it a little bit step easier, and I recorded from Photo Booth, which is on your Macintosh, or a Macintosh if you don't have a Mac. And iMovie, which is also an Apple proprietary software that makes video editing rather simple. It's a lot better than Windows Media Maker, I think it's called. Windows Video Maker, Media Maker, whatever. iMovie worked very well. It has a lot of the features that Final Cut Pro has, or had, and I think that we're making it very, very, very simple for people to make these videos, talk about what you need to talk about. You can upload them to YouTube directly from the application, and you don't have to worry about file formats or MP4s, or making sure that your video is letterboxed in one and not in the other, and then the titles aren't being letterboxed, and so you have to re-go and do all the titles again, and you don't really have those issues in iMovie. And it's just a great program for anyone who has a Macintosh and wants to get started making some quick videos. Open up Photo Booth, hit record, see what happens, throw it into iMovie, play around with the settings. I think they even have like a tutorial you can do through iMovie to learn how to do some cool stuff. And yeah, I think video is the future. As for the technology that I have learned and shared, is probably going to be mostly with screencasting and showing other people how to properly use screencasting functions, and how important it is to be commenting and look for the comments when it comes to screencasting. One of the reasons I say this is in Codecademy, when I'm trying to learn Python, is there's two, you learn the program by hands-on trying to write the code and going in. But a big part of it is that when you get stuck is, I watch screencasts of how to, improve, how to solve the algorithmic issue that I'm trying to solve in my programming. And a lot of it has to do with just commenting and getting, just getting some words out there and getting the reply totals a little bit higher, so that people just kind of gravitate to that form and that discussion question, and people start answering that question, you get a whole bunch more insight just because a few more people talk and you just kind of got that reply up a little bit higher. So instead of a question having just 2 replies, you make it like 4 or 5, and someone's like, hey, like there's a lot of people talking in here, but it's just you pretty much, and they want to put in their input. And I think through that way, and through the screencasting in that way, and being just smarter on social media, and being smarter on the microblogs, and telling people how to be smarter, and making sure that they're looking over their privacy settings has been very important. And that's how I kind of been spreading the knowledge that I have learned in this class to the others around me.